White pretty much like to do things the old way. And Caitlin Clark is a newer player, new age player. She plays ball dominant type point guard. And we know Caitlin Clark loves to run a read and react offense. And Stephanie White, she's really not a fan of the read and react. She's like this motion offense is what we've been seeing her run pretty much all season. Well, now since DeWanna Bonner been gone, and Kayla Clark been out, they're still running a motion offense. They're just running a motion offense in sets. So instead of them just pass, they're running it in.
Recent developments in women's professional basketball have highlighted tensions between media commentary and fan expectations regarding star players and team dynamics. A controversial statement from ESPN analyst Carolyn Peck has sparked debate about coaching philosophy and player utilization strategies. The situation centers around Peck's comments regarding the Indiana Fever's performance during Caitlin Clark's absence from the lineup. An examination of the underlying coaching relationships reveals potential connections that may influence media narratives surrounding the team's strategic approach.
Whole Indiana Fever team, right? So, yeah, this is what she really meant. But honestly, man, look, in my opinion, she know better. She know better, man. If anybody can give me some footage of Carolyn Peck ever saying ever that a team is more dangerous without their superstar, I'll be quiet right now. Give me some footage where Carolyn Peck said a team was more dangerous without their superstar.
Peck previously served as head coach at Purdue University, where she coached current Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White during her playing career. White currently maintains a dual role, working part-time for ESPN while coaching the professional franchise. This professional relationship creates an interesting dynamic in how team strategies are discussed and promoted through media channels. The coaching philosophy differences between traditional and modern basketball approaches have become a focal point of analysis. White represents the established coaching methodology, favoring structured offensive systems and traditional ball movement principles. Clark embodies the contemporary playing style, operating as a primary ball handler who thrives in read and react offensive scheme.
Running it in the sets, then pass. Kind of like disguising it like she's not running a motion offense, but she really still is. But I say that to say this. Now, if she want to push a certain agenda, why not have one of your good friends, pretty much your coworker, former coach, push it for you? I don't see Caitlin Clark coming back and being elusive and electrifying how she was first half of the season. I believe as long as they're running this motion offense, she can disguise it in sets all.
The tension between these approaches has been evident throughout the season, with the team implementing motion offense principles rather than the free-flowing system that maximizes Clark's natural abilities. Even during Clark's injury absence, the coaching staff has maintained its systematic approach, disguising motion offense concepts within set plays rather than adapting to different personnel strengths. The theory suggests that when Clark returns to action, she will continue to face challenges adapting to the restrictive offensive system. The motion offense structure limits her ability to showcase the explosive playmaking that characterized her collegiate career and early professional success. This systematic constraint may explain periods of inconsistent performance and shooting struggles.
Carolyn Peck said a team was more dangerous without their superstar. And honestly, if you were complimenting the rest of the team, there's other things you can say besides the team is better without their superstar. There's other things you can say, man. And for the ones who are saying, oh, man, y'all taking everything so personal, she is not saying that. Fam, it's your opinion. But honestly, you don't know this woman's intentions. You don't know her. You don't know her.
The controversial ESPN segment occurred during coverage of Indiana's recent victories, including impressive performances against Washington and Las Vegas. During the broadcast discussion, Peck made statements that would later generate significant backlash from fans and media observers. The segment focused on Indiana's consecutive victories, highlighting a substantial margin of victory against Washington in the Commissioner's Cup final, followed by another dominant performance against Las Vegas. Both games occurred without Clark in the lineup, leading to questions about team identity and strategic approach.
As long as they're running this motion offense, she can disguise it in sets all she wants. Kayla Clark is going to struggle. It's just my theory. I believe when she come back, she might have 1 or 2 games where she's just electrifying, and after that, it's going to be back to what we're seeing, and that was her struggling from 3, her struggling to find her shot. It's just unfortunate, but it's not Caitlin Clark. It's the system that she's in. It's the system that Stephanie White actually put her in. The reason why we're not seeing Caitlin Clark be the Caitlin Clark we all love to see. Now, that's just my theory.
During the broadcast, Peck suggested that Indiana presents a more formidable challenge for opponents when Clark is unavailable because opposing teams must prepare for different offensive threats. She emphasized that Clark's ball-dominant style requires specific defensive attention, while her absence forces teams to account for multiple scoring options. The analyst highlighted improved performances from Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, noting how the team's offensive distribution changes without Clark's presence. Peck referenced conversations with White about Boston's development, describing her evolution from a back-to-basket player to a more versatile decision-maker in the offensive system.
All right? You don't know what she's thinking. You don't know what her agenda is. The same way we might not know. So you can have your opinion, but don't sit here and try to tell all the people who are seeing right through this that they're wrong and you're right. No, you can't do that. That's not fair. You can't do that. You can have your opinion the same way we have our opinion. The way you receive it, not everybody else have to receive it. Some of us see right through.
The defensive improvements under White's system were also emphasized, with Peck praising the team's intensity, length, and switching capabilities. These defensive adjustments have contributed to the team's ability to create problems for opponents regardless of personnel availability. However, the suggestion that the team operates more dangerously without their star player generated immediate criticism from fans and media observers. The statement appeared to diminish Clark's value and contributions to team success, leading to widespread discussion about the appropriateness of such commentary.
My theory, and pretty much Carolyn Peck is pushing this agenda for Stephanie White, and it's just crazy, but that's just my theory. Now, we all know Carolyn Peck actually said this the other day on ESPN, and this, my friends, is kind of what got her in the hot water. Now, with this segment here, this segment was actually 3 minutes long. This is only the tail end of the segment here with Carolyn Peck. But let's check out what she had to say.
Following the negative reaction, Peck attempted to clarify her position through social media posts. Her explanation focused on the tactical differences teams face when preparing to defend against Indiana with different personnel grouping. She emphasized that both scenarios present unique challenges rather than suggesting one is inherently superior. The clarification stressed that her comments were intended to complement the depth of talent on the roster rather than diminish Clark's importance to team success. Peck maintained that her analysis addressed the tactical complexity of game preparation against teams with multiple offensive weapons.
Some of us see right through the nonsense, man. Some of us been watching Carolyn Peck since last year and how she was moving, how she was saying Angel Reese was better than Caitlin Clark. The nonsense she was using to justify that. But like I said, have your opinion, that's fine. But don't try to come and tell everybody else their opinion is wrong. Because there's no way you're showing respect to Caitlin Clark saying her team is more dangerous without her.
However, the follow-up explanation included language that continued to generate controversy. References to fans who only see Caitlin appeared to criticize supporters who focus primarily on the star players' contributions rather than appreciating team-wide efforts. The underlying theory suggests that the coaching staff may be deliberately limiting Clark's ball handling responsibilities to validate their systematic approach. When Clark returns from injury, the coaching staff may point to recent success as evidence that reduced ball dominance improves team performance. This approach could potentially limit Clark's effectiveness by preventing her from establishing the rhythm and flow that characterizes her most successful performances. The structured system may inhibit the natural playmaking ability that makes her such a dynamic offensive threat.
End of the segment here with Carolyn Peck. But let's check out what she had to say.
You were at that game just now. Look, the Fever have been on a tear. They've won 2 in a row, a 25-point blowout of the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final, and then 27 against the Aces in this one. And both of those games without Caitlin Clark. How is Indiana getting this done right now?
Look, I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball dominant guard. The ball's in her hands a lot. So you know what you need to try to take away. But
the broader implications extend beyond individual player utilization to questions about coaching philosophy and system flexibility. The tension between traditional structured approaches and modern positionless basketball continues to influence how teams maximize their personnel strength. Another theory addresses Clark's recent injury concerns, suggesting that rapid physical development during the offseason may have contributed to her current health issues. The accelerated muscle development process could create stress on her body's ability to adapt to new physical demands. The addition of significant muscle mass in a compressed time frame may have disrupted her body's natural balance and coordination. This rapid transformation could explain the frequency of minor injuries and physical discomfort that have affected her availability throughout the season.
Like saying her team is more dangerous without her. There's no way. No way, shape, or form. You're showing her some respect by doing that. You could have said, they're starting to click. They're starting to find their identity. So they're getting better on that end. And when Caitlin comes back, she's going to be amazing. They're going to be even more amazing. That's how you show respect to the team. But to flat out say, oh yeah, this team is more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. What? Stop it, man.
Gradual strength development typically allows athletes to maintain flexibility and coordination while building power and durability. The rushed approach to physical development may have created imbalances that manifest as increased injury susceptibility and reduced performance consistency. The combination of systematic constraints and physical adjustment challenges has created a complex situation that affects both individual performance and team dynamics. The resolution of these issues will likely determine how effectively the franchise can maximize its talent and achieve sustained success. The media commentary surrounding these developments reflects broader tensions between traditional basketball analysis and modern fan expectations. The balance between acknowledging team depth and recognizing individual star power remains a delicate aspect of professional sports coverage.
But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons. And Kelsey Mitchell is playing out of her mind. Right. Aaliyah Boston. I talked to Stephanie White before the game. She said in year one, Aaliyah Boston.
Right there. She talked to Stephanie White before the game, which let me know this was either a personal conversation that she just leaked out or Stephanie White told her to come on air and say what she said to the
The situation demonstrates how coaching relationships and media connections can influence public discourse about team performance and player evaluation. The intersection of personal relationships, professional responsibilities, and public commentary creates complex dynamics that extend beyond simple game analysis. Moving forward, the resolution of these tactical and physical challenges will determine whether Clark can return to the explosive form that generated such excitement during her transition to professional basketball. The coaching staff's willingness to adapt their system to maximize their star players' abilities will be crucial to long-term success.
Out Caitlin Clark. What? Stop it, man. She said, yeah, they lost last night. They have lost games with her. Well, let's think about the games that they lost without her, right? The Sun, the Sparks, twice. Now, them getting blown out by the Dream, I can understand it because the Dream is not an easy team to beat. And I was at the game. They straight dominated the Indiana Fever, all right? But the Mystics, the Sun.
ESPN analyst Carolyn Peck recently attempted to clarify controversial remarks she made regarding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, claiming her original statements were misinterpreted. Her initial assertion that the Fever represented a more threatening opponent without their star player sparked significant backlash across basketball media and fan communities. Peck's explanation emphasized that she never intended to diminish Clark's value as a player, describing her as talented and skilled. According to her revised statement, the comments were meant to highlight the capabilities of other Fever roster members rather than criticize Clark herself. She argued that the team possesses multiple offensive weapons and pointed out that losses have occurred both with and without Clark in the lineup.
Stephanie White told her to come on air and say what she said to the world on the 1st. I mean, on the 4th of July. Really, no, it was the 3rd. I think this came out on the 3rd. Yeah, on the 3rd.
Boston was back to the basket. Year 2, two-man game. Year 3, they're using her as a decision maker. And so when you have a point guard like Kelsey Mitchell and Ari McDonald making plays on the perimeter and a post like Aaliyah Boston, I'm going to tell you, Indiana, they are a threat, and specifically on the defense.
The attempted clarification seeks to reframe her original position as recognition of the supporting cast's development rather than a slight against the rookie sensation. However, critics argue that such backtracking reveals either poor initial communication or deliberate inflammatory commentary designed to generate discussion and controversy. Basketball analysts and commentators rarely, if ever, suggest that professional teams perform better without their primary stars. The statement represents an unusual departure from standard sports analysis, where superstars are typically viewed as essential components of team success. This rarity makes Peck's original comments particularly noteworthy and questionable within the context of professional basketball discourse.
But the Mystics, the Sun, and the Sparks, yeah, you're supposed to handle those. You were supposed to handle those. And you didn't. And then the way she throws it out there, Caitlin Clark was not a part of this team that is out there right now. So how can you even tell if she was more dangerous or not as dangerous? How can you tell? Caitlin didn't have a chance to have Ari. So how can you say this team is more dangerous without Caitlin Clark if Caitlin...
Alternative approaches to praising supporting players exist without diminishing star performers. Analysts commonly discuss team chemistry improvements, role player development, or tactical adjustments that benefit the entire roster. These methods allow commentators to recognize depth and growth without suggesting that removing elite talent makes teams more competitive. The controversy highlights broader patterns in how certain media personalities discuss Clark and other prominent players. Critics point to previous instances where Peck made comparisons between Clark and other players, particularly Angel Reese, that seemed designed to diminish Clark's accomplishments or create artificial rivalries between athletes.
A threat, and specifically on the defensive end. Stephanie is so pleased with the intensity that they're bringing defensively with their length, their switches. I mean, they've wreaked havoc on their last 2 opponents.
Now, that was the clip there, man. They had a lot of people scratching their head, bro. For her to say that they're more dangerous without Caitlin Clark is, yeah, bro. Which leads us to this. So this was released early this morning.
Examining the specific games played without Clark reveals mixed results that don't support the more dangerous.
How can you say this team is more dangerous without Caitlin Clark if Caitlin Clark never even had this team? That's the whole disingenuous part, man. You said nothing wrong. We understood completely. Okay. Look, I think the Indiana Fever are more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play. Sample size, aces and the Lynx. Like, stop, bro. Stop. Winning the games that you're not supposed to win, but losing the games that you're supposed to win. You're not a complete team, man.
Professional coaches consistently emphasize the importance of having their best players available for crucial games. Examples from across professional sports demonstrate that teams struggle when missing key contributors, particularly during playoff scenarios or high-stakes matchups. The notion that removing top talent improves team performance contradicts fundamental basketball strategy and coaching philosophy. Clark's impact extends beyond basic statistics to include gravitational effects that create opportunities for teammates. Her presence on the court draws defensive attention, opening shooting lanes and driving opportunities for other players. This type of impact doesn't always show up in traditional box scores, but represents crucial value that disappears when she's absent from the lineup.